Hey Pops, this is probably going to be solemn news to you. You may have already heard, but I would have sent this link out after I've made the life-altering decision, which you'll know what I mean by that is I probably won't be around too much anymore. See, I'm trying to say that in a way that you'll understand that I'm going to have to post this on YouTube to get you the link, to get you the video, because I don't know how else to get to this size of a video to you unless I link it to YouTube and then you watch it from there. So I hope YouTube lets me post it. So as long as I'm careful with the language, you know, I can post things on YouTube because they have an algorithm and they have a checklist of certain words and phrases and maybe even expressions now that keep keep safety of videos, because people, yeah, if they could post anything, there'd be all kinds of crazy stuff on the internet. That's a nice distraction. So from what I'm about to say. So I wanted to say a goodbye, and I wanted to say I love you as a father. I can give you a few times. I can point out that you supported me, let me stay at your house. The last one was with myself. There was a time before with Alan. There was a time before I went to Hawaii. And let me see, was there? There was a couple other times, and when I was younger, you supported me financially, and we talked on the phone at times. And I'm looking through our family line, so I'm gonna jump to something that make you feel uncomfortable, because you're gonna probably think of it as a fault, but I don't want you to think of it as a fault. If you do, that's fine, but I don't want you to. So, anyways, as I and Lena are your children, we are from the line of the Arrows and Lefflers. So I looked to my parents thinking, could I have been raised better? Could they have been raised better, Glenn and Marlene? Could Ray, Betty, Lloyd, and Irene, could they have been raised better? So that their great-grandchildren, Lena and I, Kevin and Christina, could have had excellent upbringing. Nikki, Calvin, and Paige, they probably are doing pretty good. Could it have been better? Probably. But I don't know how well they're doing, but it seems like they're doing all right. So out of the three, it's great that that was there. My point I wanted to say was, I don't know. I guess I need help here on how to say what I want to say. So I'm not around anymore, but when I'm partaking in the ceremony, I want to be able to think back, because this will help me get through it, to think back that I said the right things to you. And Rosie, I'm sure Rosie may want to hear this. So I don't know. So this is kind of informational, so it might be a way to ease into it. I mean, right now you're probably like blown away and probably can't listen to anything else. And as I did with Evelyn, I wanted to say I love you, and I love Rosie and Erica and Mark. I remember some situations with them. Tom Hanks in a movie once, Saving Private Ryan, says you don't remember their faces. You try to remember a situation that you were in that you had a good time in, and then you remember that feeling. Now Tom Hanks didn't say feeling, but I'm saying remember that feeling. Remember that a certain part of the situation that happened. That way we both had a good time, and then you remember the situation, because remembering the faces, that's kind of helpful, but I mean, it's more better. I think it has a better effect on a person's mental health if they remember situations that they were in where they had a good time, where they at least didn't have a bad time. So you can have a good time, you have a bad time, but you'd also have a time where, well, it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. So I'll take those all day. So say goodbye to Rosie. Say goodbye to Erica. I don't know what is after death. I can just tell you I have tried psychiatrists, psychologists, neurologists. I was fortunate enough to get the VA. I was in the Air Force for 6 months and 6 days. Had I been in there for under 6 months, I wouldn't have got any of the benefits. Maybe there might have been a screwy way to get through around that, but as far as I know, if you've got to be in there, you got to be in the Air Forces for a year. You're in there for a year, then you're considered a vet. To be considered in there for a year, you got to do at least 6 months. I just made the 6-month mark, which helped me with the financial benefits, of course, but it did not help me with my behavior patterns. They tried. I tried. But I lived kind of a reckless, loose life. I was known as a wild man. I think even you call me a wild man. I point to our family lines for allowing that to not be managed well. I remember Rosie, last time I was over there, she was like sad about, she felt guilty about something about her upbringing or something. And she started to cry a little bit. And I want to make sure she's well aware of this. It's not her fault. It's not her fault. It's not your fault. It can't be. It just can't be. And this is the way I build that model. Is what does an excellent upbringing of children look like? Right? You'd have excellent parents who knew how to manage their emotions and mental states very well. Maybe an aunt or an uncle, same way. They're following their passion. They're good at it. They know how to make they know how to make mistakes. They know how to recover from them. They know who to go when it's too much for them, and they know when to show up when it's too much for the other people. And I hope that you know I'm trying to build a picture so that way, when those kind of people have children, and they appeal to experts, scholars, pediatricians, child psychologists, child psychiatrists, child rearing specialists, physical experts, passion-directed, oriented experts. Like, how do you find a child's passion? How do you spend time with a child? The mundane times is the one times I felt that would have been better in our family if we had. Like, I barely even knew Ray. I mean, he should have made, I'm not even looking at you on this one. I'm almost upset with Ray and Betty. I mean, they should have made a huge effort. As soon as you had a problem with you and Mom, they should have showed up on your front door and said, we're not leaving until we fix everything. We're here to fix everything. Or we're going to stay with you until what we would classify as being fixed, right? As their parents should have done with them if they had any marital issues, because they would have come up. And then as to that, you may have picked a better woman, or if you had been, or a better man, depending upon the sexual classification you like, or both. But you'd have been comfortable with yourself no matter who you were. And you would have been able to sort out any emotional, mental arguments in a relationship well. And if anything got too much, we'd know to go to the parents, the grandparents. And the grandparents would come through, and my grandpa, your dad would show up. Hey, what's up, Glenn? Let's go. We're sitting here, Star would show up. And we would be counseling each other well. Not just good, but well. So if you can I do this a lot. So I try to build what in my mind would look like a great upbringing. Till they're 25 years old. They don't have to leave the housing nest until they're 25 years old. That's when the frontal lobes of the brain are fully formed. That's usually when they've gone through college. But if they're going through an excellent education, right, by 15 years old, they should be able to handle a gun well. They should be able to understand how to handle their sexual self well with another partner, how to bring the sexual pleasure out of the other partner, and vice versa, making sure that they're knowing how to handle consent, knowing what they're looking for. Not that they won't make mistakes. There'll be a lot of mistakes made. There'll be a lot of successes made. There'll be a lot of flow made. But it would be approached more with a curiosity than an authority, or reliant on something external, like material, like our family relied on alcohol and substances. That I know of. That's our family did. And from what I know, on a off topic, families from the north, Michigan, Maryland, New York, tend not to ask for help. They just don't ask for help for some reason. It has its goods and bads. Usually it breeds independence. But why? Why not ask for help? You may not get it, but we should know how to ask for help. We also can claim we're not owed anything. The universe doesn't owe us anything. You don't owe me anything. I don't owe you. I don't owe Evelyn. I don't know the dog. I don't owe them anything. Now, I do make social contracts, mental and emotional contracts with the dog, with you, with myself. Sometimes on a daily basis, sometimes on a weekly, monthly basis. sometimes over a span of years. They can be molded and shaped, and if raised expertly, right? You're freaking. Let's put yourself at 22 years old. You got your great partner, and you guys are to go on some sort of like mission. You've already been to 6 different countries. You were raised, for example, you had to choose 6 different countries to be raised in for a year. Like at 8 years old, Glenn and Ray had to go to Spain, right? And then live there for a year with people over there with the same kind of management of mental emotions, right? You had to learn how to fight. You had to learn how to bully. You had to learn how not to bully. You had to learn how not to fight. You had to learn how to recognize someone being bullied and knowing what to do. Up to, within 70% of what to do. And do it. And then be able to do it. Handle confrontations with ease. Meaning being scared, but still moving forward in doing it, right? A lot of people who are courageous, isn't that they're scared. They manage their fear and they go into the fray. We have a lot of wars and battles, and there's a lot of men who did not fight. They were scared awfully bad, but they still move forward because you can be afraid and still move forward. So I'm just building a small version of the model. I'm not going to dialogue too much more on this. I can tell you, I don't know what that looks like. I don't even know if most of the people on Earth have never had that. Is it needed? It's not needed. The universe doesn't need anything. So far, you got your fundamental forces, right? Gravity, weak force, strong force, electromagnetic force. So you got your constant space, time, light. The speed of light is a constant, meaning it moves at the same rate all the time. Now, our perspective of it can change drastically, but it moves at the same, it's a constant. And there's other ones out there too, you can look it up. The point is as long, those are fundamentals. Right? Those are in this universe. Those are managing the universe, as it were. But that's it. There's no intelligence behind it, so far as we've seen. And you don't need, and according to the math and physics that I've heard, we don't need to have intelligence. Shit can form all over the place. It just bang around. And life can come from this, as we can see. And if you study, I have been listening to a lot of people in the physics realm, and they've explained it in a lot more detail than I have. I appeal to them to help finish my idea and my thought. I also appeal to the quantum soup, right? Or the quantum mechanics, the quantum physics, the quantum realm of I think the Higgs boson. You got the Planck distance between two molecules, or is it two particles? So there might even be a graviton out there. It's something that is so freaking hard to find, but it's a particle of gravity. So let's say if gravity is like a whole pizza, there's a part, it's all spread out. They call it a gravitron. And it's just a part of gravity. Can't find it. It's very, very difficult. They're looking for it. As Neil deGrasse Tyson said, we have top men working on it. All that was kind of to allude to is I'm trying to leave you with a memory, or at least an idea of following the formula. I've told you about it. I learned it through Daryl Anka, who channels Bashar. I'm into channeling, by the way. I think part of my problem is I got locked into some channeling energy, and it abuses me. It actually physically, mentally, emotionally abuses me thoroughly. I could elaborate more, but I don't know if you'd be able to relate to it. So, but one instance is if you go in the pool and you go underwater and you hold your breath and you feel the water move you around like this, just, that's what it feels like all the time with me. Randomly just kind of moving me around. And then it feels like it's going through the body, right? Like if you had a string, a needle, or the thread, you put the thread through, except it's not a firm, it's more like a water thread, so it's more like air moving through the body. So I'm just trying to draw it out. I feel these all the time. I'm sure the substances I was using intensified these sensations that I've had, and it increased this emotional crying fit that I get. It enhanced it and increased it. And I haven't been able to shake it since. So at times, it actually helped me deal with it. Most of the time, it made things worse. And I didn't know how to go, I didn't know where to go for help. That's another part of this environment that we don't have. We don't have a place where we can go. All humans who's having trouble should be able to go to a building, a place. Yeah, you're on the 11th floor, that's right. You go up there, you're comfortable, we'll give you whatever you want. We're gonna evaluate you, we're gonna fix you up, we're gonna get you up to where when you're in this environment over here, when you're in Vince Arrow's environment, we're gonna give you a space about the size of San Jose. I'm just being fun with this. Huge space. But whatever Vince is in San Jose, 95% of the places, let's be realistic, 85% of the places that Vince goes into, any of the interactions he has, he's 85% in control of those spaces. The other 15%, this is the environment. It's going to be cold outside, hot outside, sun's going to move, it's going to rain, you're going to run into people, behavior patterns. But he's going to be so tuned in, he's going to be able to know exactly, basically what's going to happen. He knows that there's 15% fluid difference, but he's willing to accept that and grow into that. Why aren't all humans given that opportunity to do? Why isn't the environment of Earth doing that for us human beings? We could use the freaking help. We're hurting the environment, but we need the environment. We lose the environment, we lose us. From my standpoint, then I guess, shoot the moon. I'm about working with the environment. But you got hurricanes, you got starvation, you got viruses, you got bad behavior patterns, you got horrible emotions. People are born with abnormalities. I'll put it this way, I don't like to use that. AB means away from normal. So there's a normal way to have so we could have like a 70 or 80% regular human body, and that fluctuates between 0 to 80% regular human body, meaning you have the right tone, the right mental state, the right eyes, you can handle some viruses, you don't get sick too much. For some reason you're calm in stressful situations, you have these abilities. And then you got the extra ones where you have occasionally, 1 in a billion, a person can play the piano like nothing. You get Nolan Ryan throwing 100 miles an hour, he's like, it's one guy. I don't know where I was going with that. I apologize. But I guess I'm just trying to make a video expressing myself. Following one's interest and one's passion allows one to talk with excitement around people if there's an interest. And then even better, if one is, which is I want to be, I want to be a great interlocutor. I want to manage the environment between us. No matter how far you are. You could be across the earth, you could be sitting right next to me, you could be 12 days ago, you could be 15 days in the future. I want to be able to manage that. Now, what do I mean by that? I have no idea. I don't know. It could be nothing. All I know is that the environment itself, the air is going to be there tomorrow, the water is going to be there tomorrow, plants are going to be there tomorrow. Eventually it'll go away, but it's there. Why doesn't that environment help us out? I'm in a flow now. I'm at 18 minutes. You can speed this up. You can fast forward it. You can probably put markers on it. You can listen to it later. I'll be in the life-altered state that I'm alluding to. And follow the formula. Follow your interest. Follow your passion. It's okay to fail. It's okay to find a deep love and appreciation for yourself. And be wrong about it. It's okay to be right about it. No one owes you anything and you don't owe anyone anything. You can make social contracts. Make sure when you use those, you build a sequence of events. You form a inscription of behavior patterns on your moments, and you build momentum with your formula. What's your formula? Well, following my passion, following my interests, following what I really like to do, or even what I don't mind doing either. It doesn't mean I don't, like if I like to really play golf, or I got to watch the kids, well, I'd rather be playing golf, but I don't mind watching the kids, so sure, I'll watch the kids. I don't mind it, because I get to interact with the kids in a different frame. Right? Follow your passion the best you can with no expectations. No insistence on a particular outcome. You can still plan, wake up in the morning, there's going to be coffee, you're going to be there and stuff like that. But if something hits like totally dramatic, you're going to be like, holy shit, I didn't expect this. Were you supposed to expect it? I mean, so that just helps me balance out my mental and emotional state. I'm just sharing this with you. Once again, I'm saying it for one last time for this part is follow your interests. Because then you can, or I have been able to understand myself deeper this way. I would have loved to have gone to school to get a master's or PhD level degree in 2 fields. I think biology would have been a good one. Physics would have been a good one. And like a bachelor's in atheist theology or biblical philosophy. Because I wanted to be able to understand the worldview of people who rely on something that's outside themselves that there's no evidence for. They're based off feelings, not facts. Oh, it feels right. So I'm glad that it feels right, but it isn't. Oh yeah, then they begin to speak with it as an authority, and that you can coerce people, you can manipulate people, you can do all kinds of stuff when they're looking just for this feeling. They're not looking for facts. I still do that. I still have beliefs. I'm not any better than anybody else. I want to be the greatest of all time in all spaces, all places. But I mean, is that 2 or 3 people think I'm great to them, and then they're excellent and great to me? Or is it like when 10 million people come in there, like, holy shit, Vince is here, and he's here to show off, and he's really, really good at this, and sometimes he's excellent at it. Vince is on the ball game. Yeah, Vince is on the ball game, right? He's good for 30 or 40 points on basketball, right? He's like Patrick Mahomes. Him and his team's going to score 21 points no matter what. So you got to get 24 or better to beat it. That kind of great. I'm using sports because we can relate that way, but what I was just trying to say is that I wanted to do that for myself. Like, can I be great for myself? Can I fail and not look at it as just failure? It's failure. Sure, I messed up. Yeah, it's all right. Or maybe it isn't. I can ask for help. Help. I'm not owed help, and I don't owe it help. And sometimes help may show up. I think you said this, Dad. I don't know if you said this, but something was like, I gotta ask for help. And then I thought, asking for help could mean help could show up, but how do you know if it's good help, bad help? People can come by and help you out and actually make things worse. Too much of a distraction. My mood is off, and it caused me to get all charged up in the indirect way. Is there a right and wrong? Yes. Is there a bad and good? Yes. Is there benevolent and evil? I think so. Because we'll use Jesus, right? Love thy neighbor as thyself, right? But he was talking about Jewish people and Israelite people. It's 2 different, there's 12 tribes. 2 different cities, we'll say. There's Israel, and then there's Judah at the time, right? The Assyrians came in there, wiped out the 10 tribes, threw them away, and they were going to wipe out Judah, but they made some deals, and Judah was left, which became the Jewish people, right? And then eventually the Babylonians came in there and took them back there, destroyed the temple in, I think it was 586 BCE. And when they took them back there, they started to write down some of the history of the Jewish people. So, because before then, the Canaanite, they were Canaanite and Phoenician peoples, and they had like 5 gods. They had Baal, El, Asherah. I don't know if Moloch or that was the Chaldean god. They had like five gods. Yahweh was one of the gods. But when I think the Assyrians took out that tribe, when after a little while the person in Jerusalem, Josiah, was the one who said they found a new Moses script. There may not have even been a Moses. All that, man, I'm sorry I'm drifting. Jesus said, love thy neighbor as thyself, right? And turn the other cheek. But he was talking about Jewish people or people who have become Jewish. He wasn't talking about anybody else. He was talking about restoring the 10 tribes of Israel. That's what he was technically there to do. You read the Gospels. Then you get over to where Paul says, well, actually, he was here to help out everybody. All the Gentiles. All you got to do is believe he rose from the dead. Like, well, so that's where that comes from. And my point after that whole diatribe was that some people you're not going to like. Some people you're not going to love. Some people you're going to hate. Some people you're going to feel strongly against them. So how do I fix that? Here's what I did: I don't want to love people or forgive people like that. I just forgive them. I just love them. No, I don't do that. I probably will still, but I'd like to understand a person, so that way I can hate some, like Hitler, right? Or even his minions, right? Right now, Trump is on my S list. So I don't really like him at all. But I try to understand him. So why does Trump act the way he does? What's his goals? And then the people around him. Miller's not a good guy. They talk him up, but they're going after feelings. They're not going after facts. If you study what they're doing and you look at like the money Trump's making from the White House, he's making all kinds of money. He's making all kinds of changes. He's breaking the essence of the laws, and he's breaking direct laws, right? So I'm just looking at him like, so how can I love somebody like that? I'm only using him because he's big in the news, and I apologize. I don't know how you feel about him, but you even brought it. They haven't found nothing with the 2020 results of the election. Zero. But most people don't care. They want to feel, and Trump affirms their feelings. He's a con man, a confidence man. So feelings over facts. Doesn't matter. As long as he says it, he has 30% of the American people who will just do whatever he says, no matter what. Even if Jesus came here and Trump said, no, this guy's crazy, still listen to him. Most people will probably listen to Trump instead, for example. I have to assume if I didn't know better, I'd probably do the same thing. I based all my decisions off my feelings. I'm not sure what I'm trying to go with this. I'm at 28 minutes, but it's one of my final messages. So I thank you for letting me go on this explanation. Maybe I should have picked a different person. I just been listening to a lot of political news lately, physics news. Listen to a lot of atheist channels. One of them is called The Line. I recommend it. And they got a bunch of other ones. Matt Dillahunty's pretty fun to listen to. He's kind of rough. Forrest Valkai. Justin from Deconstruction Zone. He has his own channel. He's good to listen to. Because he's taught, it's not necessarily the information that they have. Right? These guys Matt does not have a master's degree. Matt's he's just been taking phone calls for 20 years. But he's read a lot, and he's dealt with all kinds of, and he was a former pastor, or was about to be one. So they have experience. Anybody who's been doing something for more than 10 years, 15, I give them, hey, you're basically a master's level, at least in that field of study. If a plumber is going to tell me how to work on a car, you may know some things, but you have to approach it with curiosity, not authority. As soon as you start coming at me like you know what you're talking about, and then you're wrong once or twice, and then you just forget about it, then I'm using my feelings to... I got lost in that. I did a bit of this with Evelyn, so I just wanted to build a video that wasn't just about me apologizing for my badnesses, apologizing for my goodnesses. I'm more interested in clarifying. You want a rational, reasonable, logical mindset based on a skeptical, critical assessment of everything, all the time, repeatedly, to build understanding. That way when it fails, you're going to go, well, it didn't fail because I didn't try. I tried and I'm not capable. Or however that is. So rational, reasonable, logical, based on a skeptical, critical mindset to build understanding. And you're still going to have beliefs. You're still going to have expectations. You're just going to, I have just learned to understand myself and as best I could. Best I could. So you can take all the information, adjust it, make it your own. I mean, you've been around 76 years, so you probably got a little bit more experience on your end that you might be able to add, adjust, modify, manage. Well, find a deep appreciation for yourself. And I'm just going to point this out then. This is the one thing. I don't know if Ray and Betty, I don't know, did they, like, this makes them look bad. I don't know if you were a hated kid for no fault of your own, which makes me sad, because that means they had a child, little Glenn, 2-year-old Glenn, and then they just, like, mom, I'll use mom as an example. I mean, Irene didn't want mom at all, and Lloyd tricked her, and then, she went ahead and had the kid, but she always despised Marlene, according to what mom said. And then she was really close to her dad. But I'm looking at Lloyd saying, you put mom in a very bad position, because her mom basically would never, like, truly love her. Always had some kind of resentment towards her for no fault of her own. Did you have anything like that with you, Dad? I think so. That's why you were distant from the family. Maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe I'm right in some areas. Maybe I'm an idiot. I know I'm an idiot. I don't want to be one. I want to be the greatest of all time in all spaces. But I also want others to be the same. If I want to be a master or expert, or have expertise and manage that, I need to be around people who are doing the same thing. And whatever that expertise is, I'll be Superman, right? Superman. And Rosa needs to be like Wonder Woman. Captain Marvel. She's pretty cool too. Scarlet Witch to me is kind of one of the best ones. You couldn't beat Scarlet Witch. She was that powerful. You had to if you watch the Multiverse of Madness, you guys don't watch that, but at the very end they couldn't beat her. She was that strong. She actually beat herself, but she wanted to have children and couldn't have children, and the whole movie is based off her wanting to have children. Well, she wanted a specific 2 children from herself from a parallel world. The way they beat her was the way they convinced her not to hurt anybody anymore was the children saw how bad she was acting, and then they hated her for that. Or were scared, worse, almost even worse, were scared of her. I don't know which is worse, hate or fear. And that convinced her to just turn on herself and implode. That's how they got her down. So there's people out there that are that strong that you can't beat them, but you can convince them or show them that, what are you really truly after? What is it that you want? Can we get you there? I don't know where I'm going with that. I apologize. I was trying to address our family line. I can say that I'm an Arrow. I'm a man Arrow, so I'm from that line. I look at Albert. And if I was look at Albert today, I say, look at Albert. Wait for a second. Look at Ray. I think he's our great grandpa from Ray's. Look at Ray. I mean, he's a mess. I heard that he wasn't really generous to Betty. He drank a lot. Our family drinks a lot, and I don't want to blame alcohol. Alcohol is not the issue. It's the fact that there's something we rely on that to fulfill something in us we can't figure out. That's what I did, and I came into an area where there was some more stuff flying around there, and why not? I'm going to take a pause here for a moment. I think I may have been too much information. I don't know if I've hurt feelings or anything, and I don't want to be scared to die. I don't want to be scared to live. And from one thing from me to you, Dad, you may pause this, and this may be a small message for you. I'll wait 1 second while you pause it, or you can just say it. I think you're scared to live. You're not scared to die. For some reason, you're running from something. Rosie helped you get through a lot of stuff. I don't know the outer stuff, but I don't know about your inner heart. I don't know why we call it heart. Your inner mental part of yourself. Your inner emotions. When we say, oh, a piece of our heart, the heart is a pump. That pump, it does a lot of work. And even having small little heart brain of itself kind of to run the little area of the body. But, I mean, the brain is what does a lot of the thinking. Or not thinking. There's that too. Synapses be popping out of places and stuff. So I've never been able to say thank you. I know I used to, back in the day, I'm going to finish with this part. I'm not going to go on too much more. Thank you for listening, for here. I used to help loan me money when I was very young, and he's helped me out with some bills and stuff, but I was never appreciative of it. I didn't know why. I still don't. And I didn't know how to be appreciative of things, of people. Especially the mundane things. The mundane time was important. What do I mean by mundane? When you're just sitting in the house, and you're just hanging out, for me, I hang out with the dogs. I'm just in the house. I'm not talking with them, I'm not really doing anything, but I'm there. And you get those curiosity questions pop up. And I say you're with your dad and your mom, your brother, and it's just fun to know that you're playing, you and Ray are doing your thing at you're 4 years old, whatever. It's just fun to know your dad and your mom are just right over there. That, whatever that is, the mundane stuff. And especially if your dad, Ray, was able to jump in there with you and play with you for a while. And Betty too. Betty, shit, she'd get down there and, she'd play with Dart and she'd play with the boys. Get down there and, what are you guys doing? You guys making mud? Okay, we'll make mud bricks together or whatever. We'll go for a hike together. And I don't think we got a lot of that in our family. I know I didn't. We had some, though. We had animals, and I think you tried, Dad. I think you tried. I hope I've been hitting you too hard. I think you tried with what you had. I think you tried with what you had. So what would be say is that I think you tried what you had. So did Mom. So it's not your fault at all. At 2 years old, you should have been inserted or raised exceptionally well. Let's say whatever thing you were doing at 45 years old, you're 45 with the exceptional. And then you mess up so badly, and then if for some reason you do it again and again, then you're going to go, well, then maybe you have a fault there, maybe. Because usually you would have support from other areas going, no, Glenn, you're not doing it, and they'd pull you out. You know what I'm saying? You're going to charge into the fray. They're going to say, no, Glenn, there's no way I'm pulling you out. We know you're going to go in there, but we're going to pull you back. We don't have anybody to do it. Not many humans do. Not many humans have that. Or if they do, great. I'm so happy that they have that. I'm happy that humans that have found beauty in interest and are healthy and are able to understand life and the environment, the universe with passion and interest. 39. I put Evelyn at 48 minutes, so I want to say I love you. I don't know if that translates well. I guess the final will be I'm just scared and confused. Scared and confused. That's why I'm still here. Fear and confusion. I shouldn't have to live with this pain and suffering. I shouldn't have to. This is unrealistic. And so I'm 51. I'm going to live for another 30 years and die anyways? So what's the point of me having to go through 3 times a week with this? It's terrible. It's terrible. And I've asked everybody, I told everybody. So I'm finally making the videos because I'm getting closer to adjusting my life-altering position for real. So I thank you for the time on this earth. It's not your fault. And even if you're going to sit there, could you have done more? Could you have done less? Could you have this and that and the other and all this and all the thoughts? Just that. I wasn't raised with expert level expertise, and I don't have anyone else I can fall to with that expert level expertise, or even better, or even alternately offerable help. I don't know what I mean by that. I don't necessarily want to mean better, but I want to mean capable, I guess would be a thing. So. I'll need help to finish any ideas that I may have not been able to come across. I mumble a lot, but I don't want to be doing another video of this. I have a tendency to ramble. But that was a piece of me I've learned in the last 10 years. And because of the fortunate award I got from the military. But the emotional, mental states, I did whatever everybody asked me. I did it. Try this, try that. Okay, I tried. I succeeded in a lot. I succeeded by completing it, but I've been battling this on my own for since 2013. Plus previous behavior patterns. The reason I wanted to figure out was I needed some seclusion. I needed to figure out what was wrong with me. I knew something was wrong with me, or not right. It wasn't really wrong, but it wasn't what I wanted. Drinking heavily all the time, always having to rely on drinking and other things was. Anyway, it's not wrong. It's just not right. And then when it becomes repetitive and then it becomes reliable, then it's all one relies on, and then it's a challenge to figure out. So follow the formula. I hope I did okay by this. One interesting book, I guess, to leave you with a book. It's called Life in the World Unseen by Anthony Bourgeois. It's a guy who's 2 friends. One guy dies, and then the guy channels in his experiences from the other side, right? So, don't know how true it is. I don't have any way to validate it. I listened to it twice. It's interesting. It's like what we see in video games today, Roblox and Minecraft and those kind of things. It reminds me of that. So, I don't know if it's true or not. It's just an interesting perspective. I don't know why that just popped up, but I guess I'll end it here.